a new day has dawned for the Jewish community in exile in Babylon. The Babylonian Empire, so dominant, was crushed by the Persian Empire, and this vast Persian Empire, led by King Cyrus, issued a decree that all peoples could return to their own nations, their own communities, and rebuild or build the temple to their own gods. And this included a small Jewish remnant who had a vision to return back to Jerusalem, hundreds of miles away, and rebuild the temple. This included an excited, envisioned Jewish community who, mobilised by a leader, Zerubbabel, who is in the line of Jesus in the tribe of Judah, but he leads the first group of exiles back into Jerusalem with a vision to rebuild the temple. Now, after about 16 years, the work comes to a standstill because of internal complacency and external opposition. And so two prophets are sent by God, Haggai and Zechariah, to mobilise the people again to rebuild the temple, recover worship at the heart of Jerusalem. Haggai is quite a short series of prophecies over a few months. Zechariah is longer and includes some apocalyptic vision referencing Daniel and Ezekiel, and also in the future will come across in Revelation. Apocalypse is simply a genre which means uncovering and unveiling. God had purposefully allowed the people of Judah to be exiled for 70 years because they'd failed to wrest the land every seventh year of the 490 years they were in the land. So for 70 years they went into exile and the land rested. Extraordinarily, under Haggai and Zechariah in 516 BC, 70 years after the destruction of the temple in 586 BC, the temple is rebuilt to much celebration and jubilation. Under Ezra and Nehemiah, as we've learnt, spiritual renewal also comes to that area. However, we end our Old Testament on a mixed note. Yes, jubilation that the temple has been rebuilt. Some of the Jewish diaspora have chosen to return under 3 returns back to Jerusalem. Worship has been re-established under Nehemiah, the walls have been rebuilt. But the last prophet Malachi has a mixed message. He rebukes the priesthood for their corruption. They are still violating Yahweh's covenants. They are still not wholehearted in seeking him first and only. Unless the people turn their hearts once more back to him, bring their whole selves to him, their whole tithe to his storehouse, unless they turn their hearts towards one another in generations, the warning is he will come and strike their land with a curse. Up until the destruction under Babylon, the Jewish community would have thought that that great day of desolation, that day that was to come, that day of wrath, was the Babylonian crushing and removing into exile of the tribe of Judah. But these 3 last prophets still speak of a day to come. They still speak of a Mashiach, an anointed one to come, a day which will be both great and terrifying, a Messiah who will bring both salvation and justice. Zechariah speaks of one who will walk into Jerusalem on a donkey, who will be betrayed by 30 pieces of silver. Haggai speaks of a new temple which will be even greater than the one they've just restored. And he speaks of one whom all the nations desire coming. And Zechariah speaks of one who will fulfill Yom Kippur, that Day of Atonement, because in one day, in a single day, he will finally cleanse the land from its sin. He will stand, as we are standing now, on the Mount of Olives. And so we finish our journey through the Old Testament scriptures on this note of both joy, the diaspora have returned, the temple's been rebuilt and restored. God is fulfilling his covenant obligations to his people to provide, protect and bring identity. But also desolation, this problem, this tyrannical ruling principle, this governance of sin has still not fundamentally been dealt with. And the scriptures are still looking forward to one who will be able to deal with that fundamental problem. one who may come to the Mount of Olives and, like an olive, be crushed in order that the oil of the Holy Spirit of life may flood out, but one also who will return and stand and bring all those who call on his name to be fully restored and healed and saved.